Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. And guess what we have today? We have the Pirate Broadcast once more, and interesting people doing interesting things. And I was introduced to Patrick through Wendy. Wendy Reiner is an amazing individual that we both have in common. And we were set up, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, Patrick, would you say?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and so all of a sudden, here we are talking about a few different things. And I wanted to talk about a little bit about what your career has done and where you are today. And then also some of the projects that you have going on, because I think we have a common goal in some of your projects. And I'm speaking specifically of Pinky Swear. Is it Pinky Swears?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So
yeah,
and I think that's a very important and critical topic to review and discuss on the show today. So Patrick, thank you so much for being here. All the gratitude in the world. I really appreciate your time and effort and sharing some of your gifts and your experience with the pirate community. And now that you're a pirate, you can, people need to know that you're a pirate and you're here. So to walk us through the process and your kind of career, little highlights of your career and what you're doing now today.
Well, Russ, first of all, it's a privilege to be on the show. It truly is. So thank you for the invitation.
I appreciate it.
I'm a guy from a working class family in rural Minnesota, southeastern Minnesota. I was the first in my family ever to go to college, paid my own way through. I had a lot of great people looking out for me. And while I was in college, I came to the Twin Cities, which was about 120 miles away from where I was going to school. Had no money in my pocket, didn't know anybody, but I did a couple of internships, hoping to get into radio and television. That was really my dream at the time. I majored in broadcasting.
Okay.
And but I realized I didn't have the talent that some other people did, like you. So I decided very quickly that my future was not in broadcasting. But I had the good fortune of doing an internship with the Minnesota Twins in their marketing department. I didn't know anything about marketing. Frankly, I had never taken a marketing class in college. It wasn't something that I had planned on, but I found out that I liked it and I was relatively good at it. And my career sort of went in that direction. After my internship with the Twins, I became the head of special events at the Minnesota State Fair. Then 7 years as head of marketing at Ticketmaster. A few years in the arena business, heading up the opening of a new arena here in the Twin Cities. And back to the Minnesota Twins, where I spent 14 seasons as the vice president of marketing before I launched my own firm about 7 years ago.
That's quite a journey between sports arenas and music arenas, and then back to baseball, because that's even though they're very similar, they're all entertainment in some way, shape, or form. And marketing to large audiences is a challenging one. However, I was in Seattle and I did a lot of work on a technical side with the Mariners, and some of the ways things happen. And I used to work with the Accolade Group and the Key Arena and all of the entertainment side of that equation as well, and broadcast. And it's amazing. It's like I was joking with Wendy the other day. It's like if people knew exactly what went on in the back office, they would be surprised, how it all works, because it's not, you make it look so great, and it is great. And it's amazing to get all of these players and all of these people together and have an event like that. I used to broadcast a little baseball team down in Texas called the Sugar Land Skeeters. And it's like, these guys would come in and we'd have the announcements and everything would be going on and things would take place. And it was fun. It was good entertainment. It was fun. It was a place for people to go and enjoy an afternoon in the sun, and it was just great activity. So fast forward, you've got your own agency. So do you specialize in the sports arenas, or with Ticketmaster, I don't know if you're doing anything with music these days or not. So
primarily what I do, Russ, is work with companies that are corporate sponsors of sports teams and help them negotiate their partnerships with teams, manage their sponsorships. One of the things that I realized when I was on the team side is that companies were investing a huge amount of money in sports, but they really didn't always know exactly what they were doing. In fact, many times they didn't even know exactly why they were in sports. It was sort of cool, right? I mean, great to be a sponsor of a local professional baseball team or football team, and but it's a very expensive business to be in, and so these companies were spending a lot of money. Oftentimes, were disappointed with their results. Didn't get everything that they could be getting out of the relationship. And so I've gone to the other side of the table, taking the information that I've learned on the team side and gone to the corporate side and try to help companies do sports smarter and more effectively.
Is it really one of these equations where, from the sponsor side, they know they want to be there for some reason, they just don't they may not necessarily have a clear, concise goal of what the outcome needs to be? Is it just putting up I need to buy some of the rim in order to get some exposure there? Or do they have campaigns that are also associated with it? And is that something that you help them with? Because I think that's the ideal way that I've seen.
Yeah. Can you hear me? I lost you for a second. Teams or your brands get into sports for a variety of different reasons. Sometimes it's hospitality. They want to entertain clients at the game. Sometimes it's the CEO just happens to be a fan of the team and he wants to walk in and see his company logo on the outfield wall or up on the scoreboard. Sometimes it's for legitimate business purposes. They want to create brand awareness. Maybe it's a company that's new to the marketplace and they want to make a splash. And the best way they think they can do that is by investing with a team. So they do it for a variety of different reasons, but oftentimes they don't do it all that well. And it's just incredibly expensive. Even sponsoring a minor league team can cost a fair amount of money. So my mission is to go in and say, look, there's a better way to do this. I know the questions to ask the teams to make sure that the sponsor's getting maximum value. And I help hold them accountable as well, because teams, like a lot of businesses, they sell something and then they sort of move on to the next prospect. And my job is to make sure that the teams are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Russ, my apologies. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay. I'm not sure why it's cutting out. So anyway, my apologies. So Patrick, perfect performance and getting an ROI or, some of those things in traditional advertising arenas, that's the way, KPIs and how many eyeballs can I see and how many people are in the stadium and, all of these things, all of those analytics are challenging at times, right? So it's one of those things that you actually have to think about how I can actually add some creativity to the mix and make sure that I enhance this campaign. So if you got any notable campaigns that you're really like, this really worked out well for this company that didn't spend all of the bank and didn't have the biggest budget, and they had a great outcome.
Sure. Yeah. You know, one of the things I like to do, Russ, with all of the sponsorships that I negotiate on behalf of clients is bring a cause to the table, a cause that company happens to be passionate about. And I ask the team to sponsor or get behind that cause. You know, one of the most notable examples is with the New York Yankees. A client of mine is the official sponsor and official sponsor of the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were negotiating the deal, I said, look, this is a cause that this company feels really, really strongly about. In fact, so strongly that they've just committed $1 million to the Pinky Swear Foundation. And I said, we'd like to introduce the Pinky Swear Foundation to Yankees fans and to the East Coast. So what we're asking you to do is, if we do this deal, that the Yankees have to provide some incremental support of the Pinky Swear Foundation and the sponsor's connection. And we put together some really marvelous campaigns and fun events that included hosting at one of the last games of every season. The Yankees give us 3 suites, party suites, fully stocked, food and beverage. Former players come up and visit. The suite is filled with both families who are dealing with childhood cancer and with donors, people who bought tickets to be in the suite. And then all of that money that we raise goes to the Pinky Swear Foundation. It was, it provided some incremental exposure for the sponsor, positioned them really positively, positioned the Yankees positively, and gave really a special experience to a lot of families going through a difficult time. So
absolutely.
Those are the kind of things that I try to do every time I put together a deal with the team.
I really applaud you for that and helping, you know, because one of the things that I really thoroughly enjoy is, you know, the community effort, the connection that you build when you have a campaign like that. And it's not necessarily just for the monetary gain. It's actually for a family that's going through a trauma that is it's going to impact their lives. And it's really important for us as a community, I think, to really appreciate and understand some of the things that these people are going through. And what better way can we do it through some of the campaigns that we have, you know, with the sports teams and sponsors and you know, because the families could never get that much exposure. I mean, how would they possibly get that much exposure? Well, maybe on social media if they had a viral video or something like that. However, it's not the same kind of impact. So I really applaud you for that. Let's go a little deeper into the foundation. So talk a little bit about the formation, what you're doing, and how people can help.
Well, the Pinky Swear Foundation is a really wonderful, wonderful cause with a bit of a tragic backstory. There was a young man named Mitch Chapakis. He was all of 11 years old, and he had terminal bone cancer. And he was in the hospital here in the Twin Cities, and it was around Christmas time, and he had a roommate, another young man who also had cancer. And he heard the family talking about the fact that, you know, parents telling the young man that there probably wouldn't be a lot of Christmas gifts this year because they had been spending all the time at their son's bedside and just didn't have the money. So Mitch heard this and he was really touched by it. And he asked his dad how much money Mitch had in the bank. And his dad said, well, I think you've got about $6,000. He said, Dad, is that my money? He said, Mitch, yeah, of course it's your money. You do with it whatever you want. He said, okay, tomorrow I want to get it out of the bank. And so they got out of the hospital, they drove to the bank, withdrew all the money, went back to the hospital. Mitch took the money and he divided it up, put it into envelopes, and handed out his money to all the kids and the families on the floor who were going through a tough time. And the last envelope had the most amount of money in it, and it was for the family of the boy that was in the room next to him. And he handed the money over, and they sort of snuck in the room and then snuck out, and family saw what had happened, opened the envelope, saw the money, tried to chase them down the hall to say thank you, and ducked into the elevator. And Mitch said to his dad, Steve, he said, "Dad, that was so much fun. Let's do it again next year." He had to say, "Hey, Mitch, to be honest with you, you're not going to be here next year."
Yeah.
And so Mitch said, "Then, Dad, I want you to promise me, to make me a pinky swear that you'll do this next year, and the year after that, and the year after that." So they did a pinky swear in the elevator. Mitch soon passed away. The Pinky Swear Foundation was born. And what we do is provide financial support and resources to families going through a difficult time in dealing with childhood cancer.
Wow. Wow. Thanks for sharing that story. It's amazing what humanity can accomplish when little things can take place. And we can all make a difference. We all make it matter. And regardless of what you see or hear in the news, people have the compassion and the ability to make a difference. And so I thank you so much, Patrick, for making a difference in so many lives and making a difference in an impact in those around you. So I really appreciate that.
So, it truly is, it's a privilege and something that motivates me every day. Getting up every day and negotiating contracts with sports teams, it can be fun, but at the end of the day, it's really about the impact that we have on others. And that's what I hope my legacy is someday. It's not, the best business deal I ever negotiated. It's how did I make somebody feel? And frankly, I'll tell you, when I was with the Twins, and I was surrounded by professional athletes every day, and had a lot of unique experiences. But the thing that I enjoyed the most was giving somebody a unique experience, something they never could have dreamed of, and that getting down on the field and meeting their hero, or throwing out a ceremonial first pitch, or getting a chance to sing a national anthem at a Major League Baseball game. Those are the memories I'll always carry with me from my time in baseball. It wasn't the promotions or the events; it was those moments.
And the look on a face of an individual going out there and throwing a pitch, or somebody that's been on the field for the very first time, that's a lifetime fan, you cannot capture and create that in any other way. So it's amazing adventure to watch unfold. So it's fantastic. So now, you're working with the foundation, you've got your agency, you're doing some great work, you've got some sponsors. Right now is a kind of a challenging time for sports teams, and I have to anticipate that there are other creative ways that you've developed to continue helping, in the community with the athletes and some of the organizations. So, what are your projections? What are your expectations going forward in the next 6 to 18 months?
It's a great question, and sports is, as is just restarting. Major League Baseball starts tonight. The NHL begins next week. They're going to try to resume their season. I think that there's some pent-up demand for sports. At the same time, we've sort of learned to live without it. No longer are we really glued to the television on Saturdays and Sundays watching baseball or football, whatever sport it might be. We've sort of learned to get along just fine without it. So I think there's great curiosity about how the fans will respond. Of course, they can't be in arena or ballparks, so they're going to be having to watch at home. For me personally, I've had to pivot a little bit. That pivot seems to be the operative word these days. So I have to continue to provide value to my clients, so they continue to send me checks.
Yeah,
that means being creative while the games aren't being played. But so far my clients have all kept me in the game. None of them put me on the sidelines.
Oh, good deal.
I've been fortunate that way, and worked with some really terrific companies. So hopefully, we'll see sports resume and fans get back into the stands soon, and life can get back to some sense of normalcy.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch it unfold, and it's for myself. I've been doing this kind of work long before the pandemic, and I've always believed for the small business owner, the smaller individual, the shops, the blue collar workers, the plumbers, the carpenters, some of these people have an opportunity to share their gifts and their message and in a different way. And now we're seeing it, all of the newscasters and the broadcasters are doing exactly what we're doing. They're getting on a video media, this live stream, and they're sharing this information out. And you could create a lot of content in a very short period of time with this. And it's just, to me, it's watching it unfold after I've been sharing this for the last 5 years. I've been teaching people how to do this, podcasting, broadcasting, streaming, and all these things. It's like, I guess I was just too early. Maybe I was just too early, or, you're getting the message down, or you're tweaking it and adjusting it. And I keep adjusting my sails, so to speak, to get in this direction of, you have an opportunity. Everybody has an opportunity to share their gift and their message. And I appreciate that you're being here and sharing this information with us. And it blows my mind that we can reach almost anyone in the world. I've got connections all over the world, just like you have, I'm sure. And it's just amazing how connected we are these days, and how we have to think about, okay, even though we're connected, we may not necessarily be able to connect in person. So how do we go about that? For me, it seems like video. So are you utilizing video in your business meetings and your communications and things like that yet?
Yeah, certainly. Like everybody, I'm doing a lot of Zoom meetings. It's been a while since I've had an in-person meeting with the client. I also do a television.
I got Zoom fatigue.
I do a show every month, a television show about the business of sports called Behind the Game, where I bring in local business sports owners, administrators, promoters, former players, and we talk not about the X's and O's and the action on the field, because you can get that, ESPN anytime you want, but really how the games come together. What it takes to put together a football game or baseball game, and so I really had the opportunity to meet some fascinating people through that television program.
That's fantastic. I love sharing information like this. I want to go to the before we take off today. I want to just go in and there's our pal Wendy. Love this. So Fred Costas, good morning, Russ, Patrick. Thank you so much. Wendy Gahuli, hello, friends. There, my audio is off. I suspect my mic died. Thanks for the heads up. Good morning, Kathy. How are you doing today? We can hear you now. Perfect. Awesome. Doing well by doing good. Fantastic. I love this. This is a great cause. And we want to put that in the show notes. If you follow the Pirate Broadcast, we put the show notes. I'll have this interview with Patrick up by the end of the day. We'll have the transcription, the podcast, the show notes, and some of the links to some of these opportunities that Patrick has shared during this episode. So go there and check it out, and make sure you follow up with him. So, and then Wendy, good morning. Gabriel's here. He does a show in the afternoon. He does a great show every night. He was on with Rob Balasabas yesterday, and another great YouTuber. Every time I hear and tell a story of humble beginning of Pinky Swear Out, I cry. And my family and I attended the event at Yankee Stadium. Best event ever. So if you're following the podcast, you can hear this. And Wendy told me this story, and it still touches my heart, Patrick. So, it's one of those things. Woo, made it to the Pirate Broadcast. Hello, Russ Johnson, Patrick. Wendy, some of these people, Lewis, oh, I can hear you. Follow the Pirate Broadcast. So before we wrap it up here, I want to talk a little bit about the impact that we can make online and some of the things that we can do as individuals, going through this challenging time. You're a creative individual. You've been with sports team, large organizations, having to sit down and rethink and retool some of the ideas that you've had historically and saying, okay, how do we move forward with this opportunity? And even with Pinky Swear Foundation, it's, there's not a lot of events that we can participate in, but there's a lot of events we can create, virtual events that we can create. So anything on top of mind on you that you want to share, or you're able to share with us at this point in time?
Well, as it relates to Pinky Swear, they do some amazing work, and they're trying to do some things online, of course, because all the fundraisers for nonprofit organizations have gone by the wayside. We simply can't gather in person. So what's happened to nonprofits has really been tragic. I serve on a couple of boards, and we're scuffling. Pinky Swear Foundation is got a initiative going on right now called Get Messy, and it's modeled after the Ice Bucket Challenge. And we're encouraging people out there to get messy for Pinky Swear Foundation, help raise some money. It's all online, and but again, you have to pivot. You have to find ways to when times are challenging and difficult as they are now, you find a way to adapt. And I think part of what will come out of this, Russ, is some tremendous creativity. Necessity is the mother of invention, right? And when you're in a situation like this, you have to, you get creative and you find ways to get through this. So I'm really, really excited to see what comes on the other side of all of this. So I think it's going to be pretty dynamic and special.
Yeah. And I think really, as a community and humanity in general, I think, having a little empathy, understanding, and appreciation for what others are going through, because you don't know what people are going through. No. It's one of those things that you just have to say, they could be going through something terrible right now. They could have just had a tragedy in their life. So having a little empathy and understanding around everybody's day-to-day activities, I think is going to make a tremendous effort and influence in what our communities are doing. And that goes online. I see so much negative online, and it's just like, and of course it's election year, so it's going to happen. However, just have a little patience, understand that, there's people who are going through a lot of stuff. And if you can stay true and focus on adding value and creating and being resilient, I think that's really going to help us out a lot. And hopefully that's something we can do. So how can we help you? How can we reach out to you? And how can we get involved, Patrick?
Well, you can reach out to me through my website anytime. It's agilemarketingco.com, agilemarketingco.com. I love to connect with people. I really do. One of the great joys in my life is having the connections that I do, meeting new people, being able to learn their story and learn from them. So I would absolutely love to hear from anybody. And, whether it's we talk business or we talk something else, just making those connections is something that really nourishes me.
Yeah. You have a connection request in your inbox at LinkedIn. So yeah, I'd love to stay connected with you and follow up. I'm always like to stay connected with people that are thinking about big thoughts and big ideas in marketing and advertising and the creative space. So it's always good to be able to follow people and see what they're doing and support them in any way we can. because I think it's important for us to support each other. Sports is very competitive. However, I think there's a lot of collaboration that goes along with it to make it all come together all at once. So there's that give and take, that tension that always exists in between. So it's in the creative space, it's like, okay, hats off to you, Patrick. You nailed it. And it's like, okay, setting the example, setting the trend, and doing something amazing is always good to watch. It's always good to see people succeed. So I'd love to connect and follow up with you at some point in the future.
Absolutely. I'd like that very much, Russ.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on the Pirate Broadcast. As always, like, subscribe, share, make comments. I love the opportunity to bring interesting people doing interesting things to the table and sharing their voice, their gift, and what they're doing in the community, and also expanding the pirate community, because, kindness is cool. Smiles are free. And, we want you to enjoy the day. So, Patrick, thank you so much for being here. I look forward to our next opportunity to have a challenge or a conversation, and we'll see you on the other side.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Russ.
Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.